You are looking at a walking miracle. I've been wanting to share this, and I wanted to do it when I didn't think I would cry. I can't promise that's not going to happen today, but I recently had a near-death experience, and wow. I'm going to share a little bit of my testimony with you today. Stay tuned. Today is Christmas in July. July 25th, 2025. Today I'm unveiling a new me. You are looking at a walking miracle. I've been wanting to share my testimony with you, and I wanted to do it when I felt like I wouldn't cry. I can't promise that's not going to happen today. But I recently had a near-death experience, and I learned just a few weeks ago just how much of a walking miracle I actually am. So I have found the courage to come online and to share, because I have shared many times that I'm one of the last people to actually come online. I have always liked for people to show up in the audience for the show, and it's improv. How do you do that online? So stay tuned as I share a little bit about my testimony and why I'm a walking miracle. Stay tuned. So as promised, I said I was going to share a little bit about my testimony. As I said, I'm a walking miracle, and I knew that when it happened, they had shared a number of things with me, and I had a chance to really process what had actually taken place. So let me just take you back. So I've had interruptions while I'm trying to get this video recorded. My mom just called, and my sons needed to take care of several things that they need to do. And you see what I have to put up with? I have these people around me that came over here today and just are encouraging me. So my mom was calling to check on me. So what can I say? There are sometimes interruptions you all know nothing about that are happening. And none of that was planned. Thank you. I love that. I appreciate you saying I look beautiful. None of that was planned, by the way. This is just what happens sometimes when we're recording, and it takes longer. So I'll have a deadline, but then a phone's calling, the phone's ringing, people are checking in, my sons may come in or may have something they need to do. So anyway, we just roll with it. So that's what's going on behind the scenes. Whew. Let's get back to it. So I was on a secret fast. It was the 13th day, and I was planning this event with a dear friend of mine. And from my door to the gate is about 20 steps. And I bounded out the door, went down those steps and over to the gate. And by the time I got to the gate, I was so winded and wore out that I almost passed out. And I thought, oh gosh, this is concrete out here. Let me sit myself down somewhere. So I sat down, felt good in the cool breeze, and then all of a sudden I just started feeling like I am, lightheaded even more. So I came in the house. It was just a moment where it felt like I suddenly had the Sahara Desert in the center of my chest. It was dry. I just felt like, okay, I've gotten dehydrated. When something happens to us, what do? We triage ourselves based on what we know or what we've experienced. And so because I was on this secret fast, now I had to divulge what was going on. I've been fasting, and I believe I've gotten dehydrated. So my husband, we had some ancient sea salt, and he put that in water and tried to give it to me. It did not quench my thirst. And I, started feeling even more just like my life was ebbing from me or something. It just felt so awkward and weird. And again, that dryness, when I say dry, I mean so dry, it felt like nothing would ever quench my thirst again. So I now felt afraid, and I just told my husband, dial 911. And as I lay on that bed waiting for the ambulance to come, I said, God, I'm yours and I'm in your hands, so help me. And then it just felt like, wow, I feel like I'm ebbing away from myself. So I went, help me, like that, you know. So within 5 minutes, they were here putting me on that chair that they bring up, and they're taking me down the steps into the first hospital. As I get there are over 20 people waiting for me, or it felt like over 20 people. It was a ER full of people, and everybody went to work right away. And of course, I'm telling them I just need an IV, I believe, because I was fasting and I didn't tell anybody. And now I'm on the 13th day, and so you know they were doing everything, you know, giving me the IV and everything, of course. And so they're asking me questions, and then I was explaining to them about that feeling of the Sahara Desert in the center of my chest. So they start all the tests, all the alphabet tests, EEG, EKG. They gave me the IV. They you know, did an X-ray and all those things, and within, you know, an hour or less, they came back and delivered some news to me. And I'm awake and well aware and in good spirits, despite the fact that this could be a bit scary. But I trusted God during this moment. So he looks me in my eye and he tells me, you are very sick. And I was like, cancel that in the name of Jesus. I am not very sick. I might be having an episode here, but I am not very sick. You know, and I said that, you know, to myself out loud under my breath, you know, and he's like, well, you know, you have a massive blood clot. Let me say it again. A massive blood clot sitting on the center of your lungs. And I'm like, what? Wait, what? I'm just in here for an IV in my arm. I don't have a massive blood. Wait, what? You know, so yes, he's like, you have a massive blood clot on the center of your lungs. Do you have high blood pressure? No. Do you have diabetes? No. Do you smoke? No. Are you a heavy drinker? No. I have an occasional glass of wine and maybe a brandy or something, bourbon, but nothing heavy, no. So then he says, does this run in your family? No. My family has great genes. The women live to 98, 93, 98, you know, longevity runs in the family, especially with the women. And so he said, wow, so it must be lifestyle. So what do you do? And I told him that I had been driving a semi-truck for the past almost 3 years, and everybody's head rolled at that moment in the ER, like, oh, yeah, okay, so that's what it is. You probably developed a blood clot in your leg when you were driving, and it has traveled to your lungs. So when they say massive, what does that mean? It's all relative when it comes to our capillaries, blood vessels, veins. So is it the size of a dime, and that's massive? Or so I really didn't know, and yes, I didn't know how massive it was, but they basically administered a blood clot buster, and there was a rock star cardiologist that they consulted at another hospital that was 20 minutes down the street. Check that a minute. How far down the street was it? 20 minutes down the street. And they were explaining to me that this rock star drug is going to break up the clots, and that's how we're going to treat this. So they went about it. And within, I'd say, another hour or so, it was miraculous. Now, when I came in the ER, my temperature was so low, they couldn't get a reading of my temperature. My blood pressure was so low that they really couldn't, you know, even get a blood pressure on me. So I really was in bad shape, and I didn't know it at that moment because of this clot. So like I said, after about an hour, everything returned to normal. My blood pressure became normal again. My right ventricle of my right heart was swollen, and it went back to its place again. And, you know, my blood pressure was normal and everything. So they're explaining to me that they gave me the clot buster because the rockstar cardiologist at the second hospital said, don't move her. Don't move her here because she won't make it. So 20 minutes away, I would not have even made it. That clot was so big. Wow. So just let that sink in. And I was like, okay, so wow, I'm a miracle. Now I understood why there were several people in the back of the room talking as I was at the ER. And at the second hospital in the ICU, they're whispering again. And each one of them were saying the same thing. Wow, this woman is so calm. And I was so calm because of my relationship with God. I wasn't worried. I knew God had me. No matter what they told me, they couldn't make me afraid, per se. And even in that moment, I realized something about myself that I'm really grateful for the experience of this, to know this. But I realized being that close to, death, so to speak, I see how I would respond. Because they told me if I had not come in, or if I had not been in tune with my body to know that something was wrong, that I would not have made it through the night. I would have passed away in my sleep. And that's real. I just had a classmate pass away suddenly. No one really knows, as I understand it, how she passed away, and they buried her yesterday. So it's just the realization that we can be here one minute and gone the next. You just never know. And so that sunk in for me. And I do see why they were amazed at my faith. And just even in the transport, the first responders or the guy in the ambulance was like, oh, where's your chart? I want to see it. The word just got around about this. So in the ER, even though they told me I couldn't be moved 20 minutes away and they had said this massive blood clot, they knew something that I didn't know. And then when I arrive in the ambulance to be transported in the middle of the night to the second hospital, asking to see my chart and reading it and everything and watching my heart rate, I was just blown away by the fact that, I'm here after this news I had just received. And so I had asked for a printout of it. And I, again, was seeing how his face is looking at my chart. And I realized he knew something that I don't know. So I go into the second hospital and I see the nurses there, and I hear all of them, talking around my chart and everything. And, one of the ladies says to me, wow, you're here and you're talking to us. And I just thought, yes, I'm talking to you. And I'm joking a little bit too, because I feel grateful that I came through that. And so they, again, knew something that I didn't know as they're looking at my chart. So the next day, this is Wednesday now. I went in on Tuesday night. This is Wednesday. I meet the rock star cardiologist, and she was amazing. And she told me, well, it looks like the blood clot buster got everything, and we don't need to do any operation to remove any more. It looks like it's gotten everything. So we're going to do an ultrasound of your arms to just check something else. But I think we're going to start the paperwork to move you to a regular hospital room. They had told me at the first hospital that I was going to be transported over to ICU and that I'd be in the hospital for about 4 or 5 days or so. So keep that in mind, 4 or 5 days or so. So I look over at my friend who's at the hospital with me by this point, and I say, oh, they're not going to find anything else. This is done. I'm on faith. This is done. So some time passes. They come back in after doing the ultrasound on my arms, and they say, there are no more clots. There's no clots in your arms or anything. Your heart rate is doing really great. Your blood pressure is very stable. Everything sounded so amazing, so good. And again, they're all just, commenting on how calm I am with this news and everything. So again, they did know something that I didn't know, because a couple of weeks ago, I do get to find out why. So after they've come and told me that I don't have any more blood clots and they were going to transfer me to another room, they say, we're not even going to have to transfer you to another room. There's really nothing else for us to do. And you have fully recovered. So miraculously, you're able to go home. So they're going to release me to home. And so this was under 48 hours, right, with all this happening. And I was supposed to be in there 4 or 5 days. So now I'm going home on Thursday. So in on Tuesday night and out on Thursday afternoon. So a miracle, a total miracle. So with that, they told me at the first hospital, you're going to be going to ICU, and that it would be 4 or 5 days. But God said, I see you and you're going home. And so that I did. I went home. My husband came to get me. And when he came to pick me up at the door where the ICU was, the security guy kept telling him, "Sir, you're going to have to drive around to the other side of the building. They don't release people from this door." And he said, "Well, my wife's coming down right now, and she's coming through this door. This is where they told me to come." He said, "Sir, they release people on the other side of the building. This side of the building is not for releasing people. No one is released from this door because this is ICU." And he says, "Well, sir, I don't know what to tell you. My wife's coming down right now." And then I come through the door. And as I walked out that hospital, I felt like when I breathed the air in that moment, that I just felt so grateful. I felt so grateful that I am here. And whatever it meant that I'm a walking miracle at that point, I felt just grateful. So fast forward to a couple weeks ago, I meet with a follow-up visit to the hematologist, and I learn just how much of a miracle that I am and what everybody else knew that I didn't know. So I'm talking to the doctor, and he tells me such and such a massive blood clot. And I said, "Well, massive, what's massive? I've been curious about this. I know that's relative, so I want to understand what massive really is." And he said, "Well, do you want to see it?" I said, "Oh, yeah, sure." So I get up and I walk over to his computer and I look at the screen, at the film, and I meet the clot. I met it. I meet the clot. I'm looking at his screen, and he's explaining what I'm looking at. This clot was covering 90% of my lungs. 80 or 90% of my lungs. And he said, yes, it spread out, it fanned out. And so he said, so it's huge, it's big. And I was like, oh, well, I've always had to do things in a big way. And I'm just, being lighthearted about it a little bit. And then I asked him another question. And he says to me, "I don't know. No one who's had a clot this big has ever lived for me to ask them." And so I stood there a minute, and I just felt like stunned, basically, that I stumped a hematologist and that no one lives after something like this. He doesn't get to talk to them. They're gone. They're just looking at film after that. So he says to me, "You're very lucky." And I said, "Oh, no, I'm not lucky. I'm blessed. And I'm under the hand of my Father. And nothing is going to happen to me or befall me until he is ready." I know doctors don't understand faith, and they really don't like it when you don't give them all the credit. And I'm grateful for every doctor who did whatever they do in their field of interest and expertise, because they did it. And I'm grateful. And the way they saved my life, as I understand it, they originally wanted to transport me and have me have the clot removed by operation. And that doctor says she will not make it even 20 minutes away for me to do that. Because if you move her, it could go to her brain and then she could die, So we're going to try something. And as I understand it, even the method that they tried was a very unique way of doing it, I guess, for my case and in the moment. And it might have been a bit risky because of all the things I signed and everything. But at the end of the day, it was masterful, and it worked within less than an hour. And everything snapped back to just normal, to the point where they said they didn't even have to do everything else that they were planning to do in the ER that day. So I am amazed and I'm grateful. Anyway, yes, I lived it, and now I'm officially retired from it, and I'm releasing my one-woman show. It's taken me a while to have the courage to release it, and now that I've lived through what I've lived through, I feel compelled to release it. I feel compelled to share it as is. I had a crowdfund, and it allowed me to acquire curate the stage props to do the actual official launch and record again on stage. And I was ready to do that. And I realize I've got to find work right now. So I'm going to be releasing it as is from the first recording that was done in the Lifeline Theater. I've been told it has a lot of value as is. And last night I met the most amazing man, Woza from New York. What's up, Woza? He was giving me some feedback from a male's point of view after seeing my one-woman show and hearing my story. And it was very inspirational. So he will be providing some wonderful review and feedback for me. But this is something I've felt a lot of trepidation over. I am surrendering. And when I say I'm grateful to be here, yeah, I'm grateful to be here. And I'm not led by fear. I'm a different woman. There's a different woman that walked out of that hospital, and I haven't been ready to talk about it or share about it. And today, Christmas in July 25th, 2025, I believe something shifts in my life, and I'm stepping forward in a way where I'm not overthinking it. I used to wonder, am I qualified to do this? Coaching and sharing as people seek me out and ask me questions and want to know, how do you stay married 30 years and still love your husband? I mean, I don't just love him. I love to hear the sound of his voice. I laugh with him. We've done life together. We've been through so much together. We've gone through the heartache. We've gone through the disappointment. We've gone through fathers disappointing us. We've gone through financial struggles that we were just holding on to each other. And we've gone through, just raising our kids and bringing them through the challenging school systems at times, to the point where I gave up 8 years of my singing career and being out here doing what I'm starting to do right now to raise my sons and to homeschool them so that they could be who they're meant to be and not shaped and shifted into what the world thinks they should be, or indoctrinated in schools. I just did not want that. I wanted them to be able to think for themselves and to dream of who they could be, and know that there's nothing that stops them as long as they're willing to commit it to God, work hard, and provide a service that people need. You're going to be just fine. And so my sons are both believers. I've been married 30 years. Like I said, I love my husband. I've come through that. And so I would wonder, okay, I'm going to do these different retreats and things I've done in the past, and so I realize now it's not whether I'm qualified. I have been through the fire, baptized in fire, and I've come forth faithful. What I thought was punishment, as I said before, was preparation. So I'm stepping forward, and there's a lot that I have to say and to share, and the value that is here, I look forward to sharing with other people. It is my goal to, bind the wounds of the brokenhearted and to set captives free, as that scripture says. I am a light. I bring love. I set out to make a difference in any room that I step into. And now I'm in new rooms, because sometimes you need to change environments in order to step into the role that is meant for you. And I believe I'm at that place now. And so this is a new day. This is a new me. This is coming forward more online. There's so much I want to do and say, and I have questions about how I should do these things, but everything's not perfect, but I'm willing. I'm willing to share my life, to share my testimony, to give birth to all these ideas that are up in this brain of mine. My imagination is, it's amazing. I have many things to still accomplish. I have books that are about to be published and that I'm still finishing details on, and workbooks for the retreats and workshops that I'll be doing. I will look forward to unveiling other things that I have going on. I won't share it all here, but I hope this has been encouraging to somebody, that I want to make my dash count. I am grateful that I'm still here. I was not afraid to die, so that's what I was telling you. I had this chance, this experience, and I know how I would respond with a near-death experience, and it feels amazing to be in a place where I did not feel I have residue with anyone, that I haven't made the attempt to try to resolve it with them, and that it would have been okay to go. I want to live because, as the word says, to live is Christ and to die is gain. I want to live. And so I did. God has allowed me to live. He's brought me through all of that because I'm not done. My work is not complete. And it's exciting to now step into the future armed with the fact that I'm still here and I have work to do in a mission. So I've said yes to heaven. I've said yes to what God wants to do through me. This is a blessing, and I want you to understand, what I went through driving a semi-truck and coming to this point. So I hope that my testimony has been inspirational to someone. I'm grateful that when we are in our lowest points and challenge, that God is our refuge, and He is the God of redeeming us and covering us. And now He is presenting me. I'm coming forth. I've come to understand and realize that I am a key. I am a key. I'm the key to unlocking the purpose that God has given me, the mantle, the mission for my life that is divinely coded into my DNA. That is what I'll be tapping into in the future coming forward. And it's just all about taking that key and opening the door. So it is grabbing a hold of the knob, turning it to open that door. So I'm opening the door to new things and sharing them with you, and hoping and praying that there will be your support, and I'll see your beautiful faces in the crowd, and you can see me, this walking miracle right here that God has brought forth. And all of this is about timing. God's perfect timing. Over these last couple of months, nearly every day, either in the PM or the morning, I'm seeing 11:11. And every time I see 11:11, I'm reminded that it's God's perfect timing. No matter what you're going through, no matter what I've gone through, or what those 2.5, almost 3 years felt like for me, in terms of it just feeling like it's silence as to when I'm going to get to really, truly go forward. But I'm grateful for God's timing, because for such a time as this, I get to celebrate Christmas in July. And I look forward to seeing you at my one-woman show, which will be reopening soon. We are finalizing with the theater. I've already become an artist in residence at one theater, and we're waiting for a date on that one with all the changes and things going around with personnel changes. And in the interim, I am releasing my one-woman show. Tickets are available right now to the link. The suggested ticket price is $35. Whatever your heart feels compelled to give, I'm grateful for it, as I do need your help as I'm coming from that truck back to stage. And I'm looking forward to also bringing forth a really fun comedy improv event that I'm doing. And it's going to start to reveal me as a stand-up comedian / comic improvisationalist doing crowd work. And so I'm going to let you in on a few of my characters. I am Hattie Mae Buford, which I'm elderly. And I've just been trying to figure out if I'm going to be doing myself in Shannon or if I'm going to put costumes on. So you just let me know which one hits you funniest. But I'm Hattie Mae Buford, and I'm a lot of fun. I'm an amazing one. I'm the oldest, most professional truck driver in the industry. And I have a lot to say. But I might be a truck driver, but I do like to dress up. So you're not going to see me looking raggedy. Well, that's Hattie Mae Buford. And then I'm also Sunshine McKenzie. And I love sharing hospitality. And I look forward to sharing some great stories and just talking food and just good things with you whenever I have a chance. And I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. And so that's Sunshine McKenzie. And then I also have Constance Ledbetter. Well, I'm Constance Ledbetter, and I really like talking to all of you. I've been in the States for quite some time. I love Chicago, love the pizza. And, so it's like really lovely here. I fancy the state, and I really look forward to meeting you and hope that you can come out, talk to me, and we can just, have a bit of fun together. So that's Constance Ledbetter. And then, of course, I have David Ada, and she's very happy, and she has a lisp, but, everybody loves her, and I look forward to sharing more about her with you. And the cool thing about me is I am very, very special, and I help people see how special they are too. So I really look forward to meeting all of you guys and revealing my favorite colors and just lifting your spirits and letting you know no matter what you're going to, it's okay and you can make it. So I'm looking forward to talking with you guys. So that's Theta Beta, and there are a lot of other characters. Maybe we'll share another one with you. Oh, I'm Harry Horowitz, and I really, really love the horror. And so that's all I talk about is the horror. Every now and then I might pop into a little bashana, but I love talking horror and the matzo ball. So that's Harry Horowitz. He's a trip. He usually is just sitting around reading the newspaper, but every now and then he'll break out into a bit of a horror, some Hava Nagila, some Bashana Habaha, some Sena, some Simentav Mazel Tov, and he loves to dance the horror. So I just, love playing. I'm an improvisationalist. I was trained for 5 years at Piven Theater with my sons. That's how I gave them theater. They trained also in comedy improv. My oldest was in the Young People's Company in Piven, which is really, that's redundant. Really, Shannon? Okay, that was really a great program for him in high school, being in high school conservatory and different things, both of them. And then Zach going to young directors camps and different things through Piven, and trained at the Green Room and some of the other places. So I'm looking forward to bringing that back. And then I had some of my training at Second City for a couple of years with John Hildreth and Ashley Whitehurst. Looking forward to talking to them about this next show too that I'm doing and getting prepared right now. So I'm coming back to the stage. It's Plan A or Plan A. So I would love your support. I love that you share the snippets that I put together for the commercial. This is the long story of everything, and then there'll be some snippets that will introduce the full show, which you can purchase your ticket and then get access to see. And I would love it if you share it with other people. So I look forward to coming forward and throwing off trepidation and showing up the way I envision myself showing up. I'm looking forward to being in wonderful rooms with wonderful people who are about their purposes as well, and we are collaborating and moving forward and shining a light. I really have this thing about, being in the room with others who are letting their light shine, and my light is shining. It is the most exhilarating feeling when you have that energy moving. So I'm looking for more and more of that. People that I can collaborate with who are excited to see each other winning. I mean, so many times when it was silent for me, I was cheering my friends on. And while I was happy for them, I wondered when it would be my turn, but I never felt like I had to tear anything down from anybody to get something, to get a space or have elbow for the stage in any way. So this is my time. I have definitely earned the place to go forward, and the value in my story and all that I've been through and all that I can share about is coming forward. So God has been so good. Such a time as this, I get to celebrate Christmas in July. Merry Christmas. Thank you for listening. I'm Shannon Wright, your host of Air to Breathe. Thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you at my one-woman show, which will be reopening soon.